Here I am, bitch. That's divine the love you got within. Okay, so there was a testing experiment from, I'm telling you, I'm getting heavy from 1968 to 1970s. Now, I'm saying 1970s because it could have been from 1970, 79, currently. However, in particularly because I'm posting because it's like, why are these visuals and things are coming to me? A lot of people want to try to say they're crazy. Okay, I know in my case, okay, I'll say for me, there's Aztecian, Mayan, and ancient African descendant blood of Mali and Egyptian, as well as Mongolian blood. So it had made complete sense once I had connected the dots, because it's like Genghis Khan was one of the strongest, most leading imperial people in history that ran Asia. Okay, basically, homeboy had Asia on lock. All right, and but chi his chi was something very deep, very big, and which made him very strong, very easily able to be strategic in what he did. So he won lots of wars, battles. He would pick and choose his battles, which was very smart. And then it's like you get to the Mali and Egyptians. The Egyptians had the original hieroglyphs, which leads to the Senkrik of the Indian, or I'm going to say of India's people. I'm not sure if you can call them Indonesia or what. I got to look into the proper name to say it, because I don't want to say it to like be offensive or anything. And with those bloodlines being entire, because like features would show it and then your blood would show it as well. Now, this is how I knew for me, and particularly like with the military, there's a lot of people. If you look up the research, it's only 1% of people that go. And the people that tend to go is either you're forced to go because a record, at that time for men, selective service. And then you have also those people that just, hey, that might be the greatest route for me to do whatever it is I need to do in my life or career path wise. Okay. And I had noticed for myself, a lot of people didn't go through the type of security clearance that I did, because when I asked people, they was like, no, I didn't have to go through all of that. Now, me personally, I knew who had the intelligence. I knew who had like, common sense. Wasn't the smartest, but they got common sense. You knew who were going to be the persons like, I'm going to kiss your ass. You know what I'm saying? Like, you knew. And for me, when I went in with rank, which was I was supposed to. I went in as an E3, got out as a fucking E4, which they knew. Even when I was in there, I should have got out at least, at minimum, if they just wanted to be like asshole, E6. Best theory, I should have got out as at least at E7. E7 promotable, because it's like I did a hell of a job in any position that they put me in. And I noticed that they would diversify me to see like, well, could she handle it? Okay, you put me in aviation. Aviation is one of the hardest units to be in outside of a regular ground unit. Regular ground units, they were so. But being in aviation, that's a whole different beast. And you really got to be on your stuff. Like, you not able to miss a beat, okay? Extremely attentive to details and things like that. And I also remember, because I wanted to go to the special forces, because it was like that side of it. Like, I loved aviation, I loved everything about it, but I wanted to continue to do aviation on the special forces side. And I knew I was capable, and they were like, no, you can't, because you're a single parent. I was like, me being a single parent doesn't mean anything. So I remember them refraining me from being able to go to special forces. Then again, I remember when it was time for me to have my son in the military. This is military, right? I wanted my tubes tied after I had my oldest son, my oldest son in 2010. Mind you, at that time, I had a boy and a girl. I was already 27, and I was just like, I didn't want any more at that time, because it was like, shoot, The marriage didn't work, relationships just wasn't working for me, and I was just like, I just knew it was in my best interest, just like, if anything happened, oh whoa, oh wow, like I'll be what, I wouldn't have to worry about it, like my tubes are tied type thing. No, I remember the doctor clearly came in, and this same doctor delivered at least two of my other kids. And she was like, no, 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 you shouldn't want that. Maybe you will reconsider, want to get married. I remember they refused to like tie my tubes, and I was just like, bro, like, this is not cool. So finally, when they decided that they wanted to do it, it's like, are you done having kids? And da da da. Like, it's none of your concern. Like, if I wanted to have 13 kids, I could fucking have them. But then I had noticed like the shit just started getting creepier and creepier over the time. And then going to therapy, like after the incident happened with my son. So this is how I knew like military was involved in this. Like Masons was involved in this. Shriners were involved in this. Other Secret Service government officials from the White House were involved, because I remember I got to meet people that were from the White House before, because they came to Afghanistan. So all those things started to connect, because I was like, well, right now it does, because I'm a person. Okay, yes, autism is, a disorder, but, high functioning people, you get people that they sometimes call you autistic if you have a very high IQ. And I was like, I know I probably, mimic some of those symptoms, but they took it very far. And I remember getting like at least two therapists. One of them, it was like she was trying to coerce me into what it was that I needed to think. And that was in Colorado Springs, VA. I think her name was like Patrick or Patricia or something like that. But then when I'm talking to her, I remember she tried to try me, and I'm like, I was SA'd in the military by somebody high ranking. And she was like, well, I don't see that in your file. Well, ma'am, I don't feel that you're trying to force me to try to downgrade what I went through. Just because I didn't speak on it at that time doesn't mean that it didn't ever happen. So she kept trying me and trying me, and I was like, you know what, man, we're gonna finish this session. And then it was like, and I told her right there and then, like, this wasn't gonna work. So I guess she got on her feelings. And then I walked past her one time, and she said something out of her mouth, and I was like, listen here, man, you might gonna end up having to get security because you talking out of your neck, and I don't mind slapping the shit out of you. And at that time, I was going through it because I was dealing with a narcissistic gay man, okay? Hence ex-husband, all right? And it started to all make sense to me, because it was like he only went to therapy one time, but I knew that therapist knew what his diagnosis was, and he was like, oh, they're just trying to tell me it was just anxiety and depression. All this stuff is happening simultaneously. And I noticed that every time that it was time for me to go somewhere, Sheila would come in, the person that was supposed to be my caregiver, grew me up. She would come in and like, yeah, there'll be perfect timing. And it was like, I noticed that I would get sick. I would gain like tremendous amount of weight. Like, they would make it their business that I would be out of shape. So that's why I always make it my business to stay in shape, whether I was pregnant or not. And they would always try to make it seem for me to get out of shape, because they felt that if I was out of shape, I wouldn't be able to like think correctly, handle people, or chase after them. Like if they did something like, oh, okay, my body would hurt. And me, I know when I gain too much weight, my body lets me know, especially like if my ankles or my knees start messing up, or my joints start, that lets me know it's like something going on with my weight and I need to detox the organs type thing. And like the weirdness started, coming, because mind you, the VAs there in the States, they wasn't testing me like that. But then when I got here, they was like, yeah, can we test your blood? Can we need you to do blood. We need you. But why are you doing my blood so much? When I went to the San Juan VA, it was just like, they always like, every time I turn around, it was like every month or every 3 months they wanted my blood. But the difference was I was just dealing with, again, another person that was paid to be with me again. And it was like, I'm letting them know, like, y'all drawing my blood for and testing me for other shit. And I'm telling you to do a full STD, HIV, AIDS panel. And y'all doing everything else but what it is. And the test, they would have never give me the results. And they'd be like, oh, well, you do have this. And I'm like, there's no way. Because if that's the case, I would have known about this years ago. And that would mean I would have to go back to all my children, and y'all would have to test my children, because that should, it passes off to them. And then when I started to mention that, before I could say anything, and I was just like, okay, let me think about it. What's the healthy way to handle this? What they telling me? This doctor with the other doctor, all I was saying, yeah, this is something that you had way before, you turned 18. And I looked at them, and when he noticed that, I was like, oh, it's okay, Miss Taylor, it's time for you to go. And I was like, what the fuck? So that's when I noticed. I was like, okay, all of y'all motherfuckers is all involved, okay? And then I was like, it runs a little bit deeper. So of course they was trying to make it seem as if when I started to do tarot cards are just a tool for you to amplify your intuition. Now, most of the time I was saying shit before these cards would way come out. And it got to a point where it was just like, okay, I don't even need the cards. It's just coming to me. I couldn't understand how they were coming to me. Then there'll be times where it's like the clouds and stuff like that. But then I started to notice every person that started to do me wrong. And I remember mentioning it, I tell people all the time, do not ever try to cross me, especially if I'm being nice to you. Don't cross me. And once you decide to cross me, you'll get away with it for maybe a few days, a few seconds, moments, maybe weeks or months, possibly even years. And the only way you'll get away with it is years is because I'm probably still entertaining you, and I probably didn't figure out that it's, you in particular or your people in particular. Oh, so when I decided to go ahead and open that aspect up to figure out, like, okay, well, this is what it is and this is where it's coming from. They were like, oh, how did you know that these people were involved? Well, it's not difficult to figure out who's all involved and had a part in what was going on. Especially here, like, it's very easy. And then I started to figure that out like a long time ago, like in 2020, 2021. I tell people, don't do me wrong, because as soon as you decide to do me wrong, you're going to have to deal with the consequence of, one, either you're going to be in an institution, like mental institution, or two, you're going to end up in jail, or three, you can take the nice right out and you can be unalived. And the unaliving will either be from yourself or someone else. And people will be like, that's so harsh, that's so mean, that makes you evil, you're evil for saying that. It doesn't make me evil, it's just the truth. And that's just something that I noticed that happened over the years. And then it's like, people tend to don't get that karma until I'm out of their energy or out of their space. So I had started to notice, like, oh, all right, if I go here and I move around, there's no way for me, for these people to really bother me, or, any of these things to happen, because I don't like to see people hurt. But then it was just like, wait a minute, these are the same people that are hurting you intentionally, trying to get you. And I must keep saying trying, because it's like, really not a lot of things bother me. And it's like, after losing my baby boy and having so many, having miscarriages and stuff, like, you miscarried, you might as well say you didn't have it. It's no different. And I noticed that with all those things happening, that people were taking for granted, like, how do you deal with it? Why would you want to deal with it? And it's like, it's not the fact that I want to, or I feel like I gotta deal with it. It's just the truth of the matter. Like, if it's a gift and it's given to me and it's working, and it's not only just helping me and it's helping other people as well, I'm gonna continue doing that. Like, who are you to tell me that, oh, you're doing the devil's work? Well, the devil's work seems like it's getting a lot of people to have a saved life and actually better their lives. It may just be you that's, intentionally doing things that you're not supposed to do. But the truth of the matter of it is, it's like, why keep putting your mouth on someone that clearly, if you'd be like, you don't want to honor the fact, like, this person is really that person, because you're in ego and like, I'm that person, they can't be better than me. Yes, there could be people better than you, and you just got to be okay with that. And I learned, like, hey, it might be some people that's better than me when it comes to processing things a lot sooner. No, don't ever think that I won't process it. It's just going to take me a little bit of time. And then once it's processed, just best believe that, hey, either we can do a return to sender, hash it out like regular adults, or you can come to me and converse with me like, hey, let's do that. Like, my capability of being able, like, I had the capability that I know, and I got confidence in myself that I know that I can be a really great diplomat for the United States of America. However, they feel, you know what I'm saying, they still wanted to colonize. That's the nicest word that I can use or say. That they still want to colonize countries and people and places, especially with a lot of things that are going on. And they tend to be like, you got people that want to be secret races and things of this type of things. And they don't realize what they're participating in or agreeing to whenever they decide to get into these groups, these organizations, or any of those things. So whenever they decide to get into them, they're looking at it like, well, why is it that this is happening and we didn't get to see that? And how do they know that? Well, I know for myself, and it's something that I had noticed since I was even a kid. And what I noticed from, as a kid was the simple fact that when I was going through all of this, I was made to be quiet. I was not allowed to really, really, really talk. So a lot of people are like, well, what does that mean? I was not allowed to talk, meaning whenever like all the grown folks would come in and stuff like that, they would be like, you better not talk, you better not say nothing to my friends, especially when it came to my aunt and them. And they have military friends, but a lot of stuff that I would say, it would come true. And they didn't like the fact that everything that I would say would come to pass. But it was just like, I remember as a kid, they'd be like, that girl is something else and she's causing death, or it was just like weird stuff. But it was just like, I didn't ever think of it. But I remember just looking at a lot of shows and how I would watch movies and stuff like that and how it would make me feel. So it's like being trafficked, identity change. Like I can still remember when I was like 5 or 6 years old and they kept saying, your name's Rita. I was like, that name is not pretty. I do not like that name. That is not my name. However, I think they did it when I was 6. They did it again when I was 8. They did it again when I was 12, 11, 12. And when they did it then, I remember going to a place and it was just like, hey, you're safe. But every time that I went to these places looked like no funny bullshit. They looked like government of like facilities, like man-made facilities, because I know what Rollins Hospital looked like, and it should be like, we're gonna go on a military base, but we weren't going to the military base hospital. We would end up going to somewhere completely different, and I'll be like, this shit don't make no sense. Like I couldn't make sense of it because I was like, well, how does that work out for y'all to go there? But then it got to a point where they will be messing with these soldiers, and I would tell them whenever they would pass away. I could tell who, was in the closet, who was not. I could tell, how many kids that they had or were going to have when they were going to pass away, all those type of things. And I just remember telling people, if I tell somebody like, hey, don't go that way, and they end up going that way, and then they pass away. So they used to try to blame me like, you don't want killing our friends and you don't want us to have friends and have relationships. So when it came to like my so-called aunt and so-called mom, they were like, you doing evil things to keep people from wanting to date us and stuff like that. So they would think that I was the problem. So I didn't really realize until after I was like 13, and it was like I was forced to lose my virginity. Like it was weird. And when that happened, I just know that it was different. They felt it was like free game because it was like, well, shit, she already lost it. And they took advantage of that. And it was just like, I just noticed that every time it would be an incident after incident. And it got so tiring to me. I was just like, shit, I want to run away. I did not want to be around those people ever. So when I had my oldest daughter, I didn't know nothing about being a woman. I didn't know nothing about pregnancy, none of that. So it was just like a lot of things. It was like self-taught and basically learning as the process went. Even with, taking care of my kids and stuff like that. All that stuff was a self-taught process. Even down to making sure that I read the cards correctly. It was self-taught process. But most of the time when all this stuff that was coming through, 10 times out of 10, a lot of this stuff was coming in towards me off the strength that I would have flashbacks of particular ages where I would say things. So it's just like when people like to play in my face all loud and they'll be like, damn, she gullible, she stupid, or she being nice. No, I'm being nice and kind because I need to figure out how far you're gonna go with it. So it's like a lot of people, like, they feel like, oh, she's so nice, she's so kind. Okay. The only reason why that they need me to stay calm because they want me to blow up, because they need to know how far is she the She-Hulk? Is she the real life She-Hulk? Is she the real life Phoenix? Is she the real life, like, I used to love X-Men and gargoyles and stuff like that. Scooby-Doo, like solving mysteries and stuff like that. So it's just like a lot of things that they would throw my way. I was like, nah, they don't, work for me. But it's like, I know for me, I'm meant to be a fucking diplomat one way or another. But it's like a doctor of this type of shit. Like, I teach people how to do these things, know these things, understand them. But it's like, instead of y'all choosing to understand it, it's like, oh, we want to get rid of it. So like, my run in here, like in the States, okay, yeah, you're gonna deal with racism. So of course I'm dealing with closeted racism. And I'm like, oh, it's old school. Like, okay, racism, gaslighting, of course, they do that fucking faithfully. And it's just like, all right. And then it's like they want you to feel inferior, or like your beauty standard is not that, which I already know my beauty standard, depending on how I change my hair, I could look like a completely different person. I could be literally a master of disguise if I wanted to. And they'd be like, damn, how do you do this stuff? It's like, how do I not? Because it's like, when you know that you have a goddess feature to yourself, or goddess ability, you don't have to talk about it or brag about it. I'm not a person that keep talking about it and bragging about it. But then why would you want to keep going about it? Like, for out here, for Puerto Rico, it was just like, shit, I knew government officials was involved. And the only reason why I know that, because I was like, the only way for me to know Secret Service, like secret information or top security information from the White House, it would need to be a political figure of the island. So this person would literally have to be a colonel of a military base, because the colonels will be the only one to receive that, or the colonel of the military of that military base, or the general, whichever position that they hold. Most of the time, it's usually just a colonel. In this particular situation, it's just colonels. And then political figures, you have to be like either part of Congress, Senate, or some type of thing. You got to have a seat at those tables, meaning you participating at the meetings somewhere in the United States. And for me to pick up these states in these places, you had to have visited that. So everything that you're coordinating, down to your police, down to your secret organizations, I'm going to pick those all up. So when it comes to the dark side, I'm very accustomed to that before I'm really accustomed to the light side. So that would require me to just say, hey, I'm just going to stick to one religion. No, you don't do that. And even then, you have to understand all religions. And most of the time, these people will want to get, like, I'm going to get people to do bruja on this person. It will only work for the regular person that is not awakened to their capability, let alone their lineage, and how do they all connect. And once you get the clear understanding of how they all connect, and then to who you are, I know who I am and I know who I'm not. I'm not going to pretend, and I'm not going to be fake. And it's just like they wanted to keep pretending, and it's like, you want to send people my way. I know here, anybody trying to be nice to me, I already know that is a setup that's not going to be cool. So I self-manage, you know what I'm saying? Self-management, keep cordial. I'm a cordial person. But it's like discrimination, fair housing, they're making sure that I don't get housing and stuff like that. But then it's like, well, y'all know I could well more than afford it, but why is it that you don't want to give me housing? So it's just like, they're discarding that and things like that. And it's like, it's very disrespectful. But it's just like, at this point, it's like, I'm just taking a moment to breathe, observe, and watch. Because it's like, I'm telling you, by the time the month is over, or by the time April hits, there's going to be a lot of people that's going to be in prison. If not the indictments, the subpoena, the investigation, where they felt like they was, because I watch them all the time. Y'all meeting up illegally with police officers while they on duty, off duty. I'm like, y'all a little bit too cocky over here for y'all to keep wanting to get these government, to help you. And then it's like, well, the United States is not helping us. Well, they're really not fit to help y'all asses now, once they figure out what are y'all doing with these money and where it's supposed to be going, especially with the Social Security that y'all doing the fraudulent things with, the Medicaid that y'all doing fraudulent things with. And y'all lucky that they even giving y'all enough with that. And then what y'all just did with FEMA, over the last couple of years back in 2022. Let's keep it a beat. So it's just like taking advantage of me and want to try to keep hurting me. Why would you want to hurt the person that I would have been willing to, like, hey, let me help you with this country, let me help you, figure out how you can, do this and XYZ, because it's like y'all overcharging people for the lights and stuff like that. But then it's mainly like I noticed that my main problem it be with women. And then if it's not just women, it'll be these men that are trapped in the closet. Like, I don't like women. Like, okay, we know you don't like women, but you ain't got to bring that shit and put it on somebody else just because you don't like women, or you don't like somebody has more power than you. Because any man that decides to want to be, flamboyant, no offense, but the truth of the matter is you will always be considered a feminine energy to your other men. You're going to always be the lesser man. You're going to be a feminine man, period. Regardless of, well, I'm the one, I do the bending, you're still a feminine man. Regardless, you're still attracted to another man. You're feminine, because it goes man and woman. You're a feminine man, period. There's no mixing those words. And it's like I noticed that with a lot of that, I had problems with those group of type of men that were feminine men, or women that just like, oh, she, her body or how I talk, or if I got attention, I tend to ignore it because I don't like people in my face. I don't like people in my personal space, honestly. And it's just like, at the end of the day, it's like, I know I'm going to win no matter what, but it's just like, I'm just ready for this karma to hit these people, because how bad I've been treated. Like, the memory and the feeling that I have of the island is just like, I don't feel like nothing against, because it's like I feel that there are some good Puerto Rican people. They are, you know what I'm saying, that they know, and they fuck with black people. But then you got these motherfuckers here that it just left such a horrible taste in my mouth that it's just like, I would even recommend somebody be like, I'm going to go to Puerto Rico. Well, if you're going to go there, I would recommend you to just go to these places. Don't get excited, and don't talk to the locals. Like, that would be my honest thought, because it's just like, well, we're going to welcome the people. No, y'all like to welcome only, and it's like, no offense, y'all like to welcome the white people because y'all want to kiss their ass, because y'all feel like, oh, they're going to fund us or whatever. But you're giving up all your island to these people, but you want to fight for your island, but you're robbing the people. That don't make sense. But y'all got to understand, karma boomerangs. What goes around comes back around. And so that stuff is coming up again. Somebody with a college degree. Your ancestors, the team is a triple OG. And I know my team, with the bloodline that I have, it's crucial. And me, it's like, honestly, I can just say I'm a low-key afraid to step in that full power, because I feel like if I stepped in that full power, a lot of people, places, and organizations won't ever be the same. They probably won't even exist, or they'll be broken up into pieces. You're coming out of this stronger, that I know. Like, I've been dealing with a lot of hostility. They're using a lot of Roman, like, historic strategic war tactics on me, but it's like, it's actually kind of boring at this point, because I mean, I could understand if I didn't understand history or something. Also, someone could be white or Roman or from Roman Catholic. Also, there's one of these people are pregnant that's trying to do this. This person is a pathological liar. They secretly pop pills. So somebody may have got it's in reverse. So somebody just got an abortion recently, or miscarried, or I'm seeing an abortion. Somebody got rid of a baby from somebody that secretly pops pills. Oxycontin, Percocets, Xanax. Some of you, if you are pregnant, you're going to be a single mom. Now you're single. You let them hit it raw. Look at how you look at that. Now you're a single mom. Now you're a single mom. You let them hit it raw. I guess somebody figured out they was going to be a single mom. And they was like, I'm not keeping this kid. Yep. Financial goals. Somebody's about to be dealing with a basketball player. But I feel like somebody's going to want to try to change your mind. Like, I feel like they're going to try to send some people your way to try to, like, make you stay. But it's like, nah, motherfucker, if I want to get the fuck on, I'm getting the fuck on. Like, they're going to try to do that either way it goes. Chris, what your fake ass want? What's up, girl? Someone's between 41 and 59 years old, an investor. Somebody that's a Fred or Sorrow or Virgo. a lease or a contract, so somebody fit to get a house or apartment. Somebody older that likes to play bingo is also involved in this. Somebody's dealing with a wannabe trap king or queen. Baby, please let them go. Time to sit back and observe, because some shit fit to go. I'm telling you, something is about to go down. Somebody may have lost weight or gained weight. Switch your wardrobe. Also, somebody need to make sure you strap up. STD or HIV. Somebody got just contracted some kind of STD or HIV. So if you prone or susceptible to getting that stuff, please strap up or remain like abstinent or stay away from this person in particularly. They were never your friend or family in the first place. So fuck them folks. At the end of the day, you can still do like I feel like people feel like just because you're by yourself that you're not able to handle yourself. But I feel like some people realize like this motherfucker handle themselves way better than we can figure this out. Also, like maybe you move so strategically, or maybe they be like when you see these people, you notice them and they be like they don't realize that you notice, like they realize like damn, they know who we are, and it's like these people get spooked because it's like you keep staring like you're oh, okay. They getting upset because you gotta keep, facing these people, and these people like, damn, how does she know? Like, you got people upset, like, how does she know? Somebody also dealing with a foster parent. Please don't, like, if somebody trying to be like a foster parent trying to be nice to you and shit like that, this motherfucker fake too. I dealt with that when I had my first case with my son. Like, don't trust these people. Don't trust anybody from DCF, CPS, or anything like that. Also, don't answer the fucking phone. Like, these people are trying to work off of false accusations. Like, it's the same thing when I had this conversation. I told them, I'm going to pick up the stuff from the place. Oh, we just delivered. Why are you delivering any fucking thing? I did not ask you to deliver nothing. I'm going to pick it up. And I told them I'm gonna pick it up for safety reason because I don't trust y'all motherfuckers. What part y'all don't get? I don't trust y'all at all. I don't trust y'all with food, my money, my existence, where I live, none of that shit. I do not trust y'all hoes. Puerto Rico, like, I don't trust none of y'all motherfuckers because y'all not legit. Y'all not respectable. Like, out here on this island, hell nah. Probably back in the States, yeah. But over here, hell nah. Yeah, they tried it again because that person, if this person keeps trying to like call DCS, CPS on you with by the beginning of April, like somebody's gonna think something is gonna be an April Fool's joke. And I feel like it's gonna be a group of people where they're gonna think like it's April Fool's, but it's gonna be serious as fuck. Like I'm picking up on these motherfuckers are sitting at work in a work office. Like I'm feeling like an open work office where these people are working, and I hear somebody like busting the door. All right, everybody stop, pause what you're doing, stop what you're working on. And I can hear somebody busting into an office, and it's like rated where a lot of people were coming in all at once. And the main person that's coming in, I could see them walking up to either whoever the boss of this precinct or this organization, and it's like, hey, here you are, here you serve. And they like being confused, like, what's going on? And they're like, well, I need to make a call. And the person that's going to talk to this man or woman, whoever is the boss of that precinct or that area in particularly, this man going to be like, what's going on? He or she is going to go attempt to try to make a phone call. Even this DCF or CPS person is going to try to go make a call. Before they can even get to this other phone or whatever the case may be, I feel the person that is serving these people is going to say, no, we need to compensate that phone just as well. So as everything that they're getting, I feel as they collect it, I can hear, hey, we found some things. We found some records. These motherfuckers are going to get found out. Period. And I feel like they're not only going to like these law places. I'm seeing law places, hospitals. These might be psychologist offices. I'm even seeing like federal government buildings where they're going into people's offices where they can probably be like some clinicians. They're coming for everybody that was involved in this, because it's like I can hear them saying like this is like supposed to be top secrets, but it's like they coming in because they're going to tell them like you were messing with the information that we had needed for this person. And I feel like they didn't know what boundary. I feel like they overstepped the boundary when somebody was trying to tell them like on the inside, like, hey, this person in particularly you shouldn't be doing that. And I feel like it's like one of those where this person is like not scared, but it's like trying not to jeopardize what they got going on. It's like basically giving them advice or a very huge suggestion. I feel that at this point you need to leave that one in particularly alone. Like if you're gonna keep doing that, you could do that on other ones, because I feel like it's research and other stuff that they ain't got no business doing. And I feel like they was advised from somebody at an advisor, a counselor, somebody of the higher ups, basically told them you might need to stop with this one. It's going to end in a tragic way. Also, when I had mentioned things about tsunamis, I remember we getting these random like emergency notifications. So I was like, well, with you guys giving these emergency notifications about tsunami, you haven't even prepped your people or spoke on the news or anything about how people should be able to prepare for what the tsunami is going to be like, or what's the evacuation route for these people to get off. So that lets me know in the midst of this that they have in mind to go ahead to use that as their form of genocide. Like these political people know how they're going to get off the island and leave and stuff. The military people that work here, they know how they're going to, but they ain't told none of the people on the island on how they're going to do that, because they're so confused. Well, we survived Maria, baby, but Maria ain't got shit on a fucking tsunami. When a tsunami comes, it can take over your whole island and it's not ever going to be the same. It literally will be a rebuild. But however, with it being a rebuild, that leaves your guys as that country as a wide open place and territory for the U.S. government to go ahead and to take it over. I'm just saying. Also, something with the Navy of them using some kind of their aim or the Navy signal station or something like that. I'm getting that area as well. Wherever the Navy station is on the island, y'all giving dead giveaway information. I'm also hearing something about Fayetteville, so that gives me Fort Bragg. So me picking up so much government, like Secret Service, White House information, and I shouldn't have access to it, that lets me know y'all are in higher up positions trying to do this. And then it's like, why would you send in people that wouldn't ever be on my level to try to distract me or want to be my friend? I don't desire to be anybody's friend, because 10 times out of 10, the only thing we probably will relate to is that one thing. And I'm not a person. I am very deep and people are surface level. So like that shit just doesn't work for me. Okay. So moral of the story, bloodline, they're testing you. They want you to come in because they want to figure something out, or they're trying to see if you figured out what it is that they've been trying to hide, especially with your blood work and stuff like that. So that's why you keep getting these phone calls or them trying to, oh, what do you got going on? How are you? Like all that stupid stuff. So be mindful.